ready? Everybody ready? Welcome. Let me call this meeting to order. The good clock is showing 7:30, but the actual time is actually 7:35, so we're a little bit late. Sorry about that. But we'll call that the good clock for tonight. May I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Darrow.
Here.
Mr. Engel.
Here.
Ms. Hannikin.
Here.
Mr. Molnar.
Here.
And Ms. Kelly.
Here.
Okay, I would like to ask everyone to stand as our Council President, Dave Engel, leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then Councilperson Jan Tully will say tonight's invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There was an interesting article in the Akron Beacon Journal that talked about Memorial Day versus Veterans Day. And why do we have two different Memorial Days? Memorial Day is to recognize those that gave the ultimate sacrifice out in the trenches and on the fields of the battlefield. Veterans Day is to thank every veteran, whether they went in of their own free will or if during those days of a draft they were drafted. Every one of them gave of their time, gave of their family, and most of them lost their youth while serving in either the Army, the Navy, the Marines, Merchant Marines, the Coast Guard, probably forgot the Air Force, which my brother would be mad at. From the jungles of Vietnam, we need to recognize those that were there and those that went in and served surrounding there. My brother was in Korea during the Vietnam War. To the sands of the Middle East, to the Martin brothers, and my friend Kimberly, who I never knew when we were running together that she served in Afghanistan. To the non-combat folks, Mr. Havlicek, my friend Misty, my son's best friend Matt. We need to take one moment to say thank you. In your hearts, I know you have at least one person you could name. So let's take one moment in our hearts to thank those that we can recognize that took their time, their energy, to make sure that we could stand here tonight in freedom. Thank you.
That was very nice. All right, next on the agenda is minutes. We have the regular minutes of September 11th, September 25th, October 9th, 2014. Do I have a motion to accept?
Mayor, I'd make a motion to accept the minutes as presented by the Clerk of Council.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next on the agenda is some recognition. There are some things that have happened recently that I think need to be brought to everybody's attention. Did Tom come tonight, Jim? Tom Rhodey?
No, we didn't.
No, he didn't. All right. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing him. But it's time to recognize him. Whereas Tom Rhodey, our service department maintenance worker, and he's also our arborist, has successfully completed the Tree Commission Academy, and whereas the Ohio Division of Forestry created the TCA, providing formal training to tree commissioners in Ohio, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, reduce noise and air pollution, and beautify our community. And now therefore, I, Donald Cookta, Mayor of the City of Macedonia, to extend congratulations to Tom as this effort assists us in achieving the environmental goals of the city. So Jim, I'm gonna give this to you, and if you would give it to Tom for me. Next is something in gratitude. Whereas we are grateful for Shirley Kaiser's diligent and unselfish service to the Nordonia Hills communities. Whereas her advice, guidance, and participation as a member of the Civilian Defense Group, where they decided to build the city one of the largest manger scenes ever, her dedication to the Nordonia Hills Middle School cafeteria, serving students for 25 years and adding her special touch into each and every meal. And she was also a founding member of the Epiphany Lutheran Church. She was active in the Girl Scouts. That's an awful lot. Whereas she loved to travel, and she was fortunate to have made it to almost 50 states. She enjoyed seeing President Nixon come through Macedonia during his presidency. Whereas, last but not least, Shirley was a founding member of the Nordonia Hills Concerts in the Park Committee, which ran for 17 years and had just celebrated their 100th concert in August of 2014. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Don Cookta, take public and official recognition of Shirley Kaiser's long and faithful service to the citizens of this city and express to her grieving family our sincere appreciation of Shirley's many contributions, and she is an outstanding citizen of our community. Would her family meet me up here in the front? Why don't we come here, turn this way, face there, because we got a camera, we want to get you on camera. No cameras, all right, well, you can hold this in front of your fit, no. All right, why don't you tell everybody your name?
My name is Paul Kaiser,
And you were married?
59.9 years to Shirley.
Wow, that's a long time.
Should have been 60 years next week.
Wow. We had a great wife, and you and your wife have done a lot of good things for our community. So this is a small way of saying thankful. Now introduce us to these two girls.
My daughter Kim Kaiser and daughter Carrie Kaiser.
All right,
And they helped out.
yeah. Well, I think a lot of us, I bet you everybody in the room probably went to one concert sometime or another. I used to go to them every once in a while myself. And we very much appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is comments by the public.
Josephine's going to get it.
It's, somebody brought it to me. I have it, Josephine, thank you. All right, in comments from the public, we ask you to come to this microphone at the front of the room and state your name and address, and we ask you to sign in, and we also ask you to please keep your dissertation to 5 minutes or less. Vince, could you kind of watch the 5-minute marks for us?
Absolutely, sure.
Thank you. Number one on the list is Roy Metzel.
Roy Metzel, I live on Smoke Rise Drive, Macedonia. I just have a couple of questions, so it's not gonna take 5 minutes, so I'm gonna save you a couple of minutes. care. I know it's gonna be a long meeting anyway. I just had some questions about the video from the end of October. I was up in Iowa for a couple weeks, and I had pneumonia, and my wife was sick, and it's been a month, and I'm looking for that video, and it doesn't exist, you know, and I was just wondering what the status of that video is, so I can watch it. Somebody said it was on cable TV, but I don't have cable, so, you know, I got satellite, so I didn't get it, so I just want to know what's happening with that. Is that gonna get onto the?
Human error, okay? There was a mix-up in discs. The wrong disc was taken there, they didn't tell us, and finally we found out. By the time you get home, it should be there, because they were.
Now, can I get it?
Yeah, I think so, Roy. They were downloading it, and when they download that onto the website, it takes longer during the day because the website is getting hits on it. All right, so it takes a long time, but by now, it should be
I'm
done.
computer savvy, I did it for 40 years, so I know.
Okay, well, sorry about that,
No,
but
that's
that
all right. I
was
just wanted to
human
make sure,
error.
because somebody said it was a pretty good meeting, and I'd like to see it, you know?
Okay,
So,
that's
and
why
my-
we
my other-
want.
My other one quickly is, this charter review committee, is that an open meeting?
Yes,
Because I wasn't sure if it is or not.
that's a public meeting.
Right, that was my question, is that gonna be here,
It'll be here.
right in here?
Yeah, here's your charter
Sorry, no.
council representative.
Okay,
It'll be in the caucus room, it's a working meeting, but it is open to the public. And the first meeting, the first organizational meeting is Wednesday, November 19th.
right, I just wanted to know if it was an open meeting, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, there's nothing's private unless they go on executive.
Oh, okay, well, I don't know, I
It's
just
all
wanted to check, so I'll give you a minute back.
All right, thank you. All right, next on the list is Barb Lugos. Barb.
Barb DeLugos, I live on Valley View Road. After the council meeting last time we were meeting, it was brought to my attention when I was talking about why it was very important for the mayor to have access and his driveway plowed. And I explained about the day my daughter died. It seemed somebody on council thought it was funny, real funny. We are paying you to sit here and listen. If you were laughing at a joke somebody else told you, wrong. You're to sit here, you're representing the people in this community. This isn't a social hour. That's all I have to say.
Okay, that's the last of our comments for this evening, so we're gonna move right into our pending and/or new legislative items, starting with ordinance number 105, 2014.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 105, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the final appointment by the mayor of Jordan Pesci to the position of full-time police officer.
And what's your pleasure?
Did you want to ask Mr. Yakupovich anything beforehand?
Vince, would you like to tell us about Jordan, please?
Jordan's been with us now a year. He's done a great job. We're really pleased with him. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here tonight, but I know he's enjoying being with us. So that's all I have.
You have some great new officers.
Yes, we do.
All right, what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 105, 2014, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Ms. Teller?
Yes.
Ordinance 105, 2014 passes. Ordinance number 106, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 106, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Brian, a little bit about Joe?
Joe's done a phenomenal job. He also has been here a year. He is part-time, and family has a history in law enforcement, and he came to the dark side and is enjoying it.
Okay. All right, what's your pleasure?
I move we pass and post ordinance number 106, 2014, and post according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully, did you want me to read that title? Because you threw out his name. I'll do it real quick.
Sure.
An ordinance confirming the final appointment by the mayor of Joseph Farga to the position of part-time firefighter.
Very good.
Yes. We're done.
We're done. Ordinance number 107-2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 107, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the final appointment by the mayor of David Spragan to the position of part-time firefighter.
Brian?
As with Joe, David's been with us 1 year. He's worked out very well, and just familiarize everybody. He's carrying on the family tradition of the Spragan's name in the city of Macedonia, and he's taking our test, our full-time test tomorrow night, as is Joe. That's tomorrow night, right, Josephine?
Well, I won't be here, but I
Oh.
think Tuesday the 18th.
Next
is-
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday.
Good thing I don't have to be there.
Very good. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, okay, Josephine, Mr. Mayor, I ask that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 107, 2014.
Second. Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully? Yes.
Moving on to ordinance number 108, 2014.
I'd like to offer ordinance 108, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a COBRA compliance administrative service agreement with Continued Care Administrators, Inc. for the year 2015 with regard to all eligible City of Macedonia employees.
And what's your pleasure?
Move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 108, 2014.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully? Yes.
Ordinance 108, 2014 passes. All that's doing is making us compliant with COBRA restrictions. Ordinance number 109-2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 109, 2014 for a first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, was that you, Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Sorry. An ordinance amending codified ordinance 16120 concerning employee health care for the city of Macedonia, Ohio, and specifically in regard to part-time employees in order to be in conformance with the Affordable Health Care Act.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 109, 2014.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
And Ms. Tully? Yes.
This is just something else we have to do to remain in compliance, and this one is with Obamacare. Moving on to ordinance number 110-2014.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 110, 2014, and I'm sorry, Josephine, for its first, second, and third reading by title only. This is a long one.
Take a deep breath.
I thought we were doing it for just first reading.
I have third.
Okay,
I thought this was,
Third.
We
I
said
have
third.
third.
We said first, second, and third.
all right.
And the second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An emergency ordinance to appropriate for street purposes certain fee simple interests and easements in and to various premises along the South Freeway Drive and State Route 82 to facilitate the I-271 northbound entrance ramp relocation from State Route 82 to connect with the new ramp from South Freeway Drive to widen State Route, to widen State Route 82 to install a sixth lane between Macedonia Commons Boulevard and the overhead railroad bridge, with the additional lane serving as a left turn lane, with the existing left turn lanes from State Route 82 to South Freeway Drive and Macedonia Commons to be lengthened, all providing access to a new 271 northbound entrance ramp off of South Freeway Drive, altogether with the necessary appurtenances thereto, further identified as PID number 97084, with the county route section number of some 271 12.65.
Very good. All right, what's your pleasure?
Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 110, 2014, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
This ordinance passes, and once again, this is starting to close in on all the construction that will be happening very shortly. Probably, even in the wintertime, they're going to be doing construction on the bridges for 271, on the ramp for 271, so be aware. All right, ordinance number 111, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 111, 2014 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance authorizing appropriation of funds from unencumbered fund balance to provide for current expenses of the city of Macedonia and authorizing the transfer of receipts of authorizing the transfers of TIF receipts to the financial fund.
Okay, we're gonna move on, but I'm just going to explain that one. It basically is because we received money, in, TIF fees from Summit County, and we have to remedy and balance that with, Huntington Bank. And I'm checking on the figures, for Mrs. Hannikin. All right, so we'll move on to 112, number 2014.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 112, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the appropriation of funds from unencumbered fund balance to provide for current expenses of the city of Macedonia and authorizing the transfer of funds within the Recreation Department.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend ordinance 112, 2014 to delete the first two items in there, which are 101, 150, 5340, and 101, 222, 5900 from this ordinance, and retain the rest of the items in the ordinance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Do you need a roll call? May I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes, you want the amendment?
Yes.
And Nick Mulner?
No.
All right, what's your pleasure?
I move we pass and post ordinance 112-2014 as amended and post according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to ordinance 113, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 113, 2014 for first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the transfer of funds from within the police department budget to provide for current police department expenses of the city of Macedonia.
And what's your pleasure?
I move we pass and post according to law ordinance number 113, 2014.
Second.
That's very good.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on to ordinance number 114, 2014.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 2014, number 114, for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the transfer of the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation refund from safety initiatives revenue to safety initiatives.
And Betsy, would you come forward? I know you're going to kill me for this, right? But Betsy is our human resources agent for the city, and I'm really happy with this particular ordinance, and I think it would be great if you would explain a little bit what's happening, kind of in a 3-minute or so dissertation. How about it?
Okay. Well, the city received 2 checks back from the Bureau of Workers' Compensation within the last month. They total about $95,000. Part of that was a statewide rebate that was issued to all eligible employers that were up to date on their payments. The other one was a refund for some programs that the city participates in. So we received this revenue. We've been working very closely with representatives from the BWC since last spring, doing some safety hazard assessments of our various departments, trying to look at different personal protective equipment, otherwise known as PPE, that maybe our employees might need to help keep them safe. We have a lot of employees that go into very dangerous situations that the rest of us can walk away from. They're the ones that are called into there. So we're trying to look at equipment, uniforms, things such as that can help to reduce their risks of serious injuries and accidents. So we've been putting together a list of different items. One is for another motorized cot, would be a lift system as well as a lift within the squad. It helps to reduce cumulative trauma disorders and injuries to backs, knees. That's where a lot of workers' comp claims come from. We're looking at new uniforms for the service guys that are out there directing traffic, mowing the grass, so that they have the proper reflective gear on, proper eye protection, proper gloves. We're looking at new gloves for our guys that have to do maybe go into a bag or something if they've arrested somebody, so that they're not stuck by a needle and exposed to bloodborne pathogens. Again, just preventative things to help reduce risks to our employees here. So we're going to take the money, hopefully, from the BWC and reinvest it in measures that'll keep our employees safer.
And that's a great thing and a great explanation. Thank you. What's your pleasure?
Based on that explanation and the cooperation of all the employees within, working with Betsy, I heartily move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 114, 2014.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Ordinance 114, 2014 passes. Moving on to ordinance 115, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 115, 2014 for first, second, third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Summit County Public Defenders Commission for the representation of indigent persons charged with violations of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, before we vote, just to explain to the citizens, this is an annual contract which is required by the United States Constitution to provide legal representation to indigent persons who may be charged with misdemeanors, either here at Mayor's Court and/or the Municipal Court of Stowe. It's my understanding that the increase of rate is up $10, and it'll be approximately $2,000 a year. So with that explanation, I would move that we pass and post ordinance 115, 2014 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
and Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on, ordinance number 116, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 116, 2014 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance providing for the 2015 annual appropriations.
Okay, that would be our budget. So this is a long process, and it started this evening in trying to spend the money the best way we can and do the most with the least. Ordinance number 117, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 117, 2014 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance establishing the pay range schedule of compensation for the employees of the city of Macedonia effective January 1, 2015.
Moving on, resolution number 118, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer Resolution 118. I'd like to offer Resolution 118, oh my God, I lost my thought. 2014 for first, second, and third reading according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution acknowledging dedication of public service by Charles Chuck Kazelka.
Mr. Mayor, before I go any further, I introduced this resolution for Mr. Charles Kazelka, and I'd like to touch base on a little bit about the man. He served our community for 55 years. He was on our police department for 27 years. He served over about 20 years civil service. He also was part of the Equalization Board for the Highland Road Project Phase 1. He also was on the Tax Abatement Board. He also served as an auxiliary policeman from the age of 18. And he also helped set up the Macedonia Dispatch Center. He was very instrumental in getting our jail certified to house prisoners. He also wrote policy and procedure manual for the Macedonia Police Department. He has also served on the charter review twice in 55 years. So with that, I would like to pass and post resolution number 118, 2014, according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes,
Mr.
enthusiastic, yes.
Yes.
And Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Ordinance number 119, 2014.
I'd like to offer ordinance 119, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with GeoSci Incorporated in order to obtain pavement cores from various streets within the city of Macedonia in order to prepare a roadway capital plan for the 2015 street improvement program.
Nick, before we move forward, just a few words so we know what this is about.
So we solicited 3 prices from geotechnical firms to extract pavement cores on the list of streets that we had to further refine and come up with some options for the 2015 road program. The roads that were on the list in the solicitation packages were Blueberry, Barkdale, Brookdale, Bonnie, Bruce, Bradford, Meadowlawn, Roseland, Driftwood, Waters Drive, Fox Hill, Newport, Robin, and Summer. And we're requesting approximately 42 cores from those streets.
Okay, and those cores tell you what?
Pavement composition, pavement thicknesses, types of material that the existing roads are made of, in order to help us better identify appropriate rehabilitative methods.
Good, thank you. What's your pleasure?
Just to be clear, this money's in our budget, correct?
Yes.
Within our budget?
Mr. Ladd, confirm that for me.
Yes. I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 119, 2014.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes, I wanted to say, I really think this is something we're going to benefit from, because I think we'll be able to repair even more roads as we find what the composition is at this point. So I say enthusiastically, yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Ms. Keller?
Yes.
Okay, are there any other motions or legislative actions this evening? Hearing none, moving on to correspondence from the clerk.
I have just one, sir. This is to Service Director Digitano from resident Dan Yerman. Thank you all for fixing the most difficult road issues on Tanglewood and its intersections with other streets. I'm pleased to see that the city got it done before the snowfall. It's well done. 9188 Tanglewood Road, Mr. Dan Yerman. That's it, sir.
All right, thank you. Next is the mayor's report. I'd like to start off by complimenting Casey Wright and the Nordonia High School for the wonderful tribute they paid our veterans. They had an outstanding ceremony on Tuesday at 8 a.m. We witnessed not only the great band we have and choral group, but also a flag folding ceremony and a POW demonstration. I saw many familiar faces among those being honored. I also was present after that for a record number of certificates passed out at Summit Point. Summit Point is our assisted living facility here in Macedonia. And my God, there were a lot of those people that live there that are veterans. And you know what, folks? The number of veterans surviving from World War II and Vietnam drops drastically every year as they age. So it's really nice to see them getting the recognition they deserve at this point in their lives. I've been told that over 500 veterans of those wars are dying every day. So before you know it, they'll be all gone, and they did such a wonderful thing. The city is producing a newsletter for our employees. The letter is full of everything from needed information to praise for a job well done. And I'd like to thank Betsy McCafferty, our human resource agent for the city, going through the effort of producing this valuable tool for our employees. There's everything in there, including how to handle stress, so it's good stuff. Tomorrow, tomorrow's a big, yeah, tomorrow's a big day for Nordonia High School. The Nordonia Knights football team, under the guidance of Coach Jeff Fox, is taking their 11 wins and no loss record up against Perrysburg at Cedar Point Stadium in Sandusky. This game will determine which of them moves on in their quest to be state champ in their division. I plan on being there and cheering them on, and boy, am I going to have a lot of clothes on. I've missed only 3 games this season, and I really am a big fan of theirs. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., the Nordonia Marching Band, under the direction of Director Tom Weaver, will be leaving to compete in the Bands of America Grand National Finals in Indianapolis. This is the first time we are going to the Nationals in 34 years. 90 bands from all over the country will be performing to be judged as the best in the USA. Recently, at the Ohio Music Educators Association competition in Columbus, our band received a perfect score from all of the 9 judges. I hope you will join me in keeping our fingers crossed for these above par students who will be representing us tomorrow in so many different ways. Go Knights. I just received word at about 4 p.m. today that we are going to get over $500,000 worth of rehabilitation done ASAP to the Ledge Road Bridge. Some stone will be removed. Some stone will be removed and replaced with concrete slabs, so that'll do away with the chicken wire and from the stones falling from the side. They're gonna actually remove some stone to put the slabs in there, and my hope is maybe it'll widen that bridge out a little bit. Girders will be reinforced. The bridge will be inspected twice a week. The city's getting back the money we expended for the lights. But when all of this is over, it's still not over, because Norfolk Southern has told us that they will work with us in a joint venture with the city doing its part, trying to help them get money to replace that bridge with a new one. So this doesn't happen every day, where you actually get the railroad working with a community. All of this was accomplished in less than 2 weeks. That's amazing. Norfolk Southern stepping up to the plate, and I would personally like to thank our law director, Joe Deemert, for an outstanding job negotiating and bringing resolution on behalf of the city of Macedonia. I would like to wish the best to the Manor House Committee. This Sunday, going up to the game Friday night, I'll be staying at my daughter's afterwards, so I won't be there for your ceremony, but Angela's going to be my representative there. But congratulations, and I hope for our next meeting we'll have a proclamation, okay? Sound good? All right, that ends my report for tonight, so we'll go right into department reports. I'm sorry, committee reports.
Mr. Mayor, the Planning Commission meeting will be meeting Monday, November 17th. We have a public hearing at 5:15, and that is, Mike can help me on that one. It's for request for a conditional use permit for outdoor display of merchandise for Get-Go at 265 and 275 East Highland Road. And then we will be having our planning meeting directly after that at 5:30 this Monday. And we have several things that are gonna be on the agenda. Let's see, we have, if you want to come, We are going to have a request for a conditional permit for outdoor display of merchandise at the Gecko, which I had said, at 5:30. Proposed final site plan approval for Gecko. A proposed site plan adjustment patio for Retail Plaza at 463 East Aurora Road. A proposed sign face change for Steak and Shake at 597 East Aurora Road. A proposed new building at 355 Ledge Road. A proposed signage for Charming Charlie's at 8210 Macedonia Commons Boulevard. That'll be Unit 18. And also, I find, let's see, Babson Macedonia Partners, which is going to be at the Macedonia Marketplace at 463 East Aurora Road. Building signage will be also talked about. And just to let a lot of you know, because I really didn't know exactly what all was gonna be going in there, but it looks like we're gonna have First Watch, which is a breakfast and lunch, Sherwin-Williams, AT&T Prime, Antonio's Pizza, Jimmy John's, and a mattress firm. And that's all I have on that. We did have a JED meeting yesterday evening, and Don, do you want to speak about the JED, or?
Sure.
Okay.
The JED board met, and we're going to address the failing, what do you call them?
Catch basin.
Catch basin, I'm sorry. That is right at the entrance. If you'll notice, as you're pulling in to shop there, there's red cones over there. The catch basin is collapsing, and the JED board voted to go ahead and get it fixed right. Also, you'll notice there's new striping over there. All the striping was done. So, it was a very short meeting because we didn't have much business. We also talked about
The mound.
the money.
The mound, remember to.
Yeah, the money for disbursement, and that'll be handled by Thanksgiving. And we talked about the mound. It's like a bad dream with that mound. It just never seems to go away. Now, you know how we all complain about the weeds in our lawn? Well, the mound has a certain kind of weed that has to grow on it because it's in a conservancy, and the weeds aren't growing. I can't believe it. They grow in my yard, but they don't grow on that mound. So the Army Corps of Engineers insists that you have that mound covered with those weeds. I mean, all the things in the world we have to be worried about, it's weeds growing on that stupid mound. I think that's about it.
We did let's see, Northfield Center Township, we did a land addendum. Do you want to talk?
Yeah, the land
Would you like to
addendum
speak?
is something that we've been doing, working with our law department, and we're finally going to be completing that. That will be the outline of the actual JED for the record keeping. So after all these years, it's finally going to the county.
Mhm.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Oh, wait, yes, I believe that's it.
Mr., are you having another meeting before the end of the year? Do you know that?
We will be, it will be in December, and I believe we picked December 10th.
Okay.
And I believe it's at 6:30. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I thought there might have been one, but it's not on here, and I just want to make sure. Okay.
And I do have a copy of, I
No,
don't know.
that's okay, as long as it's, we'll get it up there.
I have a copy of the district land addendum, if you would need a copy of that.
Actually, I have a file of that.
Okay,
You don't, I prepared that for them. for you.
okay, just,
Yeah,
I did
no.
bring it, just in case.
Since
Are there any other
2010.
committee reports?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we're going to have a final Finance Committee meeting on December 4th at 7 PM. The final adjustments will be due to the Finance Chair, which is me, by December 1st. So I think the good news is a number of things. We are going to be able to invest in our roads, repair and replacement significantly. We are going to be able to pay for our new exit. We are going to have a lot of stormwater repairs done this year. So a lot of things that our residents have talked to me about are going to be addressed in this budget. So thank you.
Are there any other committee reports?
Mr. Mayor, briefly, Charter Review Commission will have its organizational meeting on the 19th, 6:30 in the caucus room. Public is invited, as we discussed before, and also, again, the Longwood Historical Society dedication of the plaque for being placed on the National Registry is 2 o'clock on Sunday. Public is welcome. We want you to come, and we're going to meet at the rec center. So everybody come up. It's going to be very exciting.
It's going to be great. And by the way, the Nordonia Hills Community Chorus, of which I'm a proud member, is going to be singing Christmas carols at the beginning of that. So.
I thought you wanted people to come, Sylvia.
Yeah, well,
Okay, are there any other committee reports?
It's bad.
Hearing none, moving on, Jim, department report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to touch base a little bit on the LEAF program. We had a pretty rough start. We have equipment problems, as council knows, and the residents might as well know. A lot of our equipment, our oldest machine is 18 years old. The next one is 12 years old, and then our new one. And every single machine had gone down at one point in time since we started. And even the new machine had a design flaw that we had to take it all the way to Minerva, Ohio. And I actually had the driver wait there till they fixed it and then brought it back. It's been one thing after another. In fact, I'm to the point now where the one machine, the Dinkmar, is done. To wait to try to fix it and get all the parts, lease season will be over anyway. It'll be into winter. So what I am doing is I went out and I got a few pricing, and we're going to bring in a contractor. I have a line item. It's already money that we have. And we're going to bring them in. I priced a few of them. This is a company we had used once before when we had problems. And they've also worked for other communities. So I'm going to have them come in and work with us for 2 weeks. And so we'll have the 3 machines then. They'll have their machine, a truck, and their crew, and then we'll have our 2 machines and our crews out. And, you know, I've been personally hands-on doing leafing for over 20 years. And we've had good years and we've had bad. In the 20 years, we always have a goal of trying to get things done by Thanksgiving. We've accomplished that many times. There's a lot of times we haven't, between weather and so on. But I will tell you this, they will get done. And they'll get done and everybody will be happy. And hopefully then we just step into the next process, and that's winter. And if you, so it will be taken care of. And the contractor is going to start next week, on Monday. And then on another note, we did start, if you came in certain roads and by the hills, you'll notice there were stripes in the road. That's our de-icer. We're going to, we just started to use that because I don't care what the weather might be. If it's even a threat of being cold, that truck will be out. And we'll pre-treat the roads, especially the hills and curves. So, but we're moving along. Okay, that's my report. Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up to council. Many years ago, we had a service. We actually had grants where some of the seniors that you know, couldn't afford, or you know, the low-income seniors, we had a grant where we were able to go out and do their gutters and that. And I've been getting requests again from some of those seniors if we could come out to their homes and maybe help some of them by cleaning their gutters and so on. It would take probably 2 weekends, a Saturday and a Sunday, 4 days, to get this done. I've looked at it through some of the landscapers that we know, what their hourly rate would be. And it would actually be cheaper if our men did it. and I have one price, it was close to, I think $7,500, and we could take care of all these seniors. It's just a thought if you want to look at it. I have some figures for you if you want to consider
Right,
that.
could you get the figures for us?
Sure.
As well? I had a question,
Sure.
because we have gotten a bit behind on the leaf collection, and that's probably just getting the leaves off the tree lawns. Maybe looking at a contractor would be a good thing, so if we could get maybe 3 sources?
I already did the 2 sources.
Okay, so I'd like to see
He's the
that.
cheapest, and we've used him before in the past, and so do other communities. It's 3Z.
Then it's just a question of, is this gonna be a regular annual program, and if it is, we should.
We have to look into getting new equipment, yes. If you want to continue to do this, and you want our people to do it, you have to look into getting new equipment.
The concern I have is one of the newest machine we have, it got broke here, and.
Well, that was a design flaw, and they fixed it, and it's been working. So far,
Well,
it's been working
I
good.
know, I mean, these are all standard pieces of equipment, I'm sure, and we just need to make sure if we can't repair something that it's repairable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At any rate, if you'd get those numbers to me, I'd
We
appreciate
will
it.
do so.
And Jim, I did ask Our Lady of our OLG, some of the children need to get service hours, so I was trying to see if some of the kids can do gutters too.
Sure, that'd be great.
But they haven't gotten back with me yet, and I know that St. Barnabas, they said, no, they don't, they would rather do leaves and things like that, so seniors should know that. If they're looking for somebody to do stuff like that, like break their leaves, the kids do have to get their service hours if they're in confirmation time. So, that's an idea too, because they need the hours. And, but gutters, I'm waiting for OLG to get back with me and find out what I can do because I know a couple of residents, I know Chuck I was wanting to see about getting Chuck's cleaned out. I might hire my own kid to do it, but.
Yeah. Well, the one thing we have to be very careful with is liability.
Right, and that's what they're saying too.
That's the biggest thing. Our men, of course, are under the,
They're covered.
they're
because
covered
insured.
from the city, so, and they're experienced. So,
All right,
that's my,
thank you, Jim. Mike?
Thanks, Mayor. Just to expand on what Rita said, Gecko's coming back to Planning Commission, and they have a totally different design than they had last one, and in my mind, it meets the town center pretty well. I think Planning Commission's gonna be pleased. I think the whole city's gonna be pleased the way this one looks. We're working on another hotel for the area. The name they don't want exposed at this time, but we're working on that to get that Western Reserve looking. At this time right now, it just looks like a plain hotel. Looked at preliminary revenues for my department. Right now, we've exceeded last year by 130,000, and we still have, November, December to go, so we're doing quite well with our revenues. And we received a letter on the sand, which can be elaborated by Nick Feeney in his report. That concludes my report. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mike, I have a question for you, because I am on planning, and I happened, there was something that came up and I couldn't attend the planning meeting, and I had heard about the Gecko and about the Western Reserve look and so forth. My question is, I always thought that Route 8 in Highland over there was not considered to be Western Reserve. It was basically on Aurora Road 82 here, that, and in the comments, all those areas were supposed to be Western Reserve look. So when that was brought to my attention, I was like, wow, I wonder why they're doing that, because even, the only reason I remember this is because Martin, when he was on the planning meeting, he pointed me out in the audience, and he had mentioned, because I want to say that Chinese, the buffet place over there, they had painted all of that orange color. And Martin had mentioned it, and he pointed me out at the planning meeting, and he asked me how I felt about that at the time. And so my question is, they didn't have to do anything when they were remodeling their building there, no Western Reserve. So I know that was brought up a couple years ago, so I was kind of confused why Gecko had to go back and do all this Western Reserve.
So that area is in our town center, and
Okay.
we have codified ordinances that require the Western Reserve styling in a town center.
So across the street's not?
I'd have to look at it.
I'm just
Yeah, I'd
right,
have to-
yeah, you know what
yeah,
I'm
off the
saying?
top,
That's on
right.
Route 8 and Highland too, so I was very confused. That's all, I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you that.
I mean, I could get back to you on that.
All right,
It could actually be Western Reserve, but most of the time, a good example of Western Reserve would be Taco Bell. Taco Bell, you know how it looked for years and years, until they wanted to upgrade it. What they were was what they were. We couldn't change it. But once they came in to change the structure of the building, it had to be Western Reserve. So basically, that's what's happening here. All right, Angela,
Thank you.
what you got?
The Recreation Center will be closed on Thursday, November 27th, in observance of Thanksgiving. We will be open the following day, which we usually get a lot of questions about, the Friday after Thanksgiving. We will be open. So for those of you who are not shopping and who overstuffed themselves possibly the day before, we hope you'll come see us on that day. We will be there. Manta Rays Recreation Swim Team. Our registration is going to open early this year. It is a high demand program, so that will we will be open for registration for that program beginning December 1st. So we are trying to get the word out to parents so that they can begin registering early this year. Lastly, we have our dinner with Santa scheduled for Saturday, December 6th. That is at 5:30 in the evening. We do have that event is catered, so we do have dinners for children and their parents. You do have to register ahead of time, and this is the event where Santa does arrive by fire truck at that event. So it's a very popular event for the kids in the community, and we encourage people to contact us and get tickets for that event. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Nick.
Thank you, Mayor. Some updates on the 271 widening project. The 271 bridge over Ledge Road is scheduled for demolition towards the end of December. Right now, the window of opportunity to remove the beams based on ODOT's coordination with the railroad looks like it's going to necessitate the closing of North and South Freeway Drive at Ledge Road between the dates of December 22nd and December 31st. At which point in time, a posted detour will be up in advance. If anything changes on those dates, I will let you know. The waterline relocation on North Freeway Drive, north of Ledge Road, is still pending approval from Cleveland Water Department, so ODOT does not have a definitive date on that work. When that work does start, it will require temporary closures of Ledge Road while the water line's being installed on that portion of Ledge Road before they get to North Freeway Drive. As Mike mentioned, we did receive correspondence from Solar Test Lab regarding Lake Forest. I have emailed a copy of that to you and council. I encourage if you have any questions, feel free to contact me about that report.
All right, thank you. Brian.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I would just like to, from the fire department, thank all the veterans out there. We really appreciate your service, and we're glad you did that, and that's why we're here tonight. I'd also like to thank you for the 2 firefighters coming off probation. They've been a great addition. And also, we had our Halloween party at the end of October. It was with great success as usual. And our Pancake Day last Sunday, we did about 450. And I hear word the Santa Claus is coming to town the 15th, 16th, and 17th of December via fire truck to your house, and there should be publications out with all that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Vince.
Mayor, I'd just like to remind residents, I know the service department's doing a great job with the leaf pickup, but we've had a lot of complaints about leaves being raked into the street. They have to be on the tree lawn, not in the ditches, not on the roadway. So, and with that, waiting for the service department, it's still some maintenance on your part. If the wind blows it out in the street, a large pile is blocking the road, we need you to go out there and rake it back into the tree lawn so we don't have these problems. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, and I think you have to make sure that we coordinate with Nixle when we close those roads, Nick. So if you talk to the police department so we can get it out.
Absolutely. As soon as I have the confirmed detour routes, I'll forward those as well.
Okay. And if anyone doesn't have Nixle, all you have to do is call our office or talk to anybody, and we'll tell you how to get it on your phone. Joe?
Hi, Mayor. Thank you for the kind words earlier on the settlement of the case. Just to supplement that, it's been over a year now since we've been having damages occurring on that road. Stones following and hitting cars and bothering our workers having to go out and fix it. Over the course of the past year, our negotiations with them and all of our department heads really came to nowhere, to the point where you told me we have to file a lawsuit to protect the people if we want to keep this road open or get it fixed. And we threatened that for 3 months, and nothing happened until we did file a lawsuit 2 weeks ago. At that point in time, the matter got bumped up to national officials, to Norfolk Southern. We finally got to their general counsel, their chief engineers, and we're able to negotiate a settlement that I think is very beneficial for the city, for the citizens, and for all the traveling public who will go under that bridge for the next several years until we can negotiate for a new bridge. Along with that, yet the law department has not been paid for any of the work on that matter in September. The October bills have gone out, and we still haven't been paid for the October bills. With council's action tonight to remove the additional appropriations, even though there is a huge amount of balance in the general fund that has not been appropriated, you are putting the law department in a position where it will be 3 months before we get paid for the work. I think everyone needs to understand that every piece of legislation, for the most part, is drafted that you acted on tonight. Contracts that you approved have been reviewed and approved by us or modified. Every departmental report tonight involved advice from the Department of Law on how to do their policies, on how to keep the roads clear, on how to get fire equipment purchased, on how to do the bids, on how to hire and fire new people, on how to get individual civil service applicants, on how to get through the probationary period. I-271 northbound ramp that we have been working on, we're not going to be paid for now because council is not appropriated the money. The Route 82 Phase 3 and all the appropriations that council authorized tonight requires the law department to go out and appropriate those properties. And yet council does not think it wise to authorize the money to pay the law department and my staff in order to do the work that we're obligated to do under the laws of the state of Ohio and under the charter of this community. So, service department uses this almost on a daily basis, the building department, police department, fire department, and yet the law department is the only one that's now council deciding they don't think he should be paid. Whatever the vindictiveness is, it's not going to prevent us from doing our job and continuing to battle the cases that need to be battled and to advise the departments on a day-to-day basis. But it is certainly inappropriate, unfair, and illegal for the majority of council to not provide the funding that's necessary to do all the services that we are obligated to do in this community. It's a charter that's been in place for many years. This position has been in place for many years. No matter who's seated in it, who took an oath of office, we have to do the job. So I would appreciate the council majority doing what has to be done. Otherwise, the law department is going to have to do what it has to do. And the taxpayers of this community are entitled to get good services, and they're going to get them. But somehow the administration and the council are going to have to provide for payment for those services. So I gave council a letter last March detailing the Constitution of the state of Ohio, all of the statutes, all of the case law that requires them by law to fund the mandated services that are in our charter. And if you refuse to provide leaf pickup, you refuse to provide snow plowing, you refuse to provide police protection or fire protection, you are violating the charter. And by refusing to pay the law department, you are equally in violation of the charter. So with that being said, it's no meeting again in November, so you will now then have the balance of the September bills that have not been paid, October and November going into December. So I think it's at a critical and emergency state that all departments should be concerned about and all the council should be concerned about. And With that, I wish you a good night.
Is there any unfinished business?
Yes, Mayor, I wanted to bring up Lake Forest. There was a lot of talks about the stormwater system that runs through there and kind of what we're doing going forward. After looking at the system and determining that it was something that I felt the city, and talking with the engineering department, that that's something the city should take on. We're at a point now where we are moving towards doing that. I talked with Nick and Mike today, and you guys have done an excellent job, and I thank you for your time and your effort. But basically, we need to commit $3,000 to get the paperwork, the legalities, everything drawn up so that we can make that system our issue, the city's issue, not the people that live there. I said it before and I'll say it again, there's a head wall in front of the one gentleman's house. If it were to fail, he'd be bankrupt. And it could destroy that entire area of that community. So right now, I'm gonna get the legislation drafted for the next meeting. It's gonna have all the parcels on there, all the engineering, all the legalities, everything needs to be done to get that wrapped up and make that our responsibility, which I think it is ours. So that'll be going to the legal department to draft that legislation.
What, Nick, who owns the land?
It'll become an easement. Parts of it are already ours, but we're gonna make it all of ours.
An easement doesn't make it ours.
Yeah.
Well, ours to maintain, I should say.
Well, it depends on who owns the land.
That's part of the legality process I referenced, where we're gonna go to them and we're gonna have the documents drawn up to say that that stormwater system, like many in our community, will be the city's responsibility to maintain.
I'd like to know whose land it is first, before I make a judgment like that.
Well, this is what those folks have asked for. This is nothing new.
Well, no, that's what you've been talking about. I wanna know whose land it is.
The stream that runs through their property?
Do you know who the landowners are?
Well, yeah, I know who, that's
Okay.
part of the process of engineering and the building department going through and getting that those documents
They have
together.
satellites today that they can look and find out whose property.
I like to be sure with legalities. I don't like to guess by looking at a
Well,
satellite.
that's what they go by, are satellites.
I don't reference Google Earth
Okay,
to
well,
draw up
that's what
legal
they
documents.
reference all the time, are satellites. So,
Is there any other unfinished business?
Mayor, I have two things. Real briefly, everyone should have received the Republic Services that talks about the new disposal cans that you'll be receiving, both the blue and the green. That starts next week. So be aware that they will be coming out. If there's any issues with it, I have talked to Diana, the mayor's assistant, you know, to be able to help field any calls as well as that's yours, Jim? If we have any questions or calls.
Sharon's been handling
Yep. The dates aren't changing. They did remind us in here, which I always like to see, what days they don't do garbage and what would impact your garbage pickup by a day. Veterans Day is not on there, so that means we should be on our normal schedule this week. If you did not get one of these, I brought mine to leave with the mayor's office so that they can copy it, distribute it if you have questions. The other thing is we still have an outstanding investigation of the finance director, who is on paid administrative leave. Under the direction of our council president, there was comment made that if we could find, and by Councilor Hannikin also, we need to do an investigation. We have criminal, ethical, and administrative type violations that were brought forth in the accusations. We are now over 30 days that we have not identified anyone to go forth with an independent investigation. I don't know the 4 people's names that I'm going to pass to the folks, but I would like us to pick one of them. 2 of the names came to me via the Employee Resource Council. It's a council within, based in, I believe, Cuyahoga County. Spoke to them about employee law. We have a lot of things that might be in violation with the, there was one there for you, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
there you go, Don.
We may have things in violation of our employee manual as well as ethical, as well as potential criminal. The other 2 names are brought forth to me by a prosecutor who is not in, based on Ms. Hannikin's request, not someone that would be out of Cuyahoga or Summit County. It was the Geauga County prosecutor who actually explained the scenario if we wanted to do an independent investigation. Gave me 2 names of folks from a law firm. I have no idea who these people are. I would ask council that we pick one of these four. We do it effective Monday and get this over with, because we are paying a gentleman to sit at home. That's unconscionable for him to be paid and not perform work, as well as it's unconscionable for us to have the allegations hanging over his head. So I took it upon myself because I've been waiting for some directive and we haven't had any. So there are the names. I do have a copy of Josephine for the file, and I also have a copy of Mr. Deemer. You may know these people, I don't know. That's all I have, thank you.
Yeah.
You gave him to stay home, but not the law director who's
Well,
here.
here, let me just say this. Let me just say this. We have the criminal allegations against the mayor and against Mr. Schwab, the finance director, have been forwarded to the Attorney General. So that particular aspect of it is out of our hands at this point. I have contacted the Ohio Ethics Commission, and I believe the rest of these matters belong in the Ohio Ethics Commission. And so we haven't had a chance to discuss it, other than I did put that on email, and have contacted them. And what I'd like to do at this point is just point out that we need to have, if we needed to have this discussion, we could have had it in work session, but since we're out here on the floor, that's what I think ought to be done. So,
Well,
next.
I want it on the floor because I understand someone had directed it to the Ethics Commission, unbeknownst to all of us. I've done some checking of the Ethics Commission. They may not deal with an employee. Some of these violations may not be ethical. They're purely administrative, an employee handle. There's a whole employee law. I get a little baffled because I'm in the private sector and my day-to-day job. Some of these accusations in the private sector, you don't get a hearing. You get to talk, go back and forth, you have a review. I'm doing this because we're in the public sector. I'm not sure why a public sector employee gets more than a private sector employee. Some of these accusations, we've had threats, we've had insinuation of threats, we've had insinuation of sexual harassment. Those are the kinds of things that are taken very seriously, and I've had to deal with them in my own job. So I would ask that council work diligently because it's been over 30 days, and I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Mrs. Tully, one of the reasons for the delay is that there were certain counties which members of council said they didn't want these people to be from, and including Cuyahoga County, and these people are from Cuyahoga County, so.
Yeah, I don't
That's
understand
part
why
of the
we
problem.
can't use Cuyahoga County. That was never given
Well,
to
but
me.
you've also said you didn't want someone from Summit County.
No.
You didn't. Yes, you did at the
I
last
said
meeting.
I didn't care.
Okay, so now we don't care. Then I'll try to proceed. But
Ms.
I've
Hannigan
had-
specifically said she did not want someone from Cuyahoga
right, and then
or
you said
Summit.
you didn't want someone
said
from
Stark.
County and Summit County. That makes it very difficult when we start
Gave you who I have.
doing away with different counties. But we'll talk about it.
I think this is important to point out the administrative piece of this. I think it's being brushed over many times when I think we have three separate issues here. We have, and I think it was already referenced, you have a criminal potential issue, you have an administrative issue, and you have an ethical issue. We can't skirt the administrative piece of this. I think that's important as anything. Additionally, there's been some emails floating around of late that some members of this council feel it's okay to work with Scott. Now, when someone's on administrative leave and is told not to do anything with city business, and you openly say that you were working with him, I've got a real problem with that. And this does need to be public. This is not something that should take place in that room, and it should be out here in the open.
No, I didn't say-
Additionally, you referenced in the meeting earlier that I missed a finance meeting, and I'd like to explain why I missed that finance meeting. About 2 years ago, I decided that I wanted to pursue a career in public works. I have been taking classes and doing everything I needed to do to position myself to do such. A job came up in another community. I took a civil service exam, which we all know takes all the nonsense out of it, all the Jimmy Damore type stuff, and puts it all to the side. I scored in the top 10. A year later, I had 3 interviews and I got the position. 2 weeks before Mr. Schwab got fired, he was walking in with me and he said, "I heard someone pulled your file in the city you work in." And I said, "Well, what's that supposed to mean?" He goes, "Well, Deemert pulled mine, someone pulled yours." A little odd. After he got let go, The very next day, there's an anonymous request for all my records in the city I work in. Happened to see Mr. Swab in City Hall that day, and he has been there now, I think we're approaching 10 times, disrupting city business where I work, and now he's calling my references. There's an email that went to every member of this council, of which he called up one of my references, and he said, the reference said to him, you know, the mayor let you go, why are you going after Nick? He said, Nick's going after me, I'm going after him. Now, when I think about my 2 children and my wife and what I do up here and someone messing with my livelihood because he's upset because of violations that may or may not be true, but you're gonna come after me, I got a problem with that. Not only that, he has violated Ohio law. There's ORC codes that he has violated, and that day, ironically, I had to sit with the sheriff and file a report about that. Is that appropriate? Is it appropriate that we're working with this man who's sitting at home getting paid? Is it appropriate that we're cutting this lady's money? I mean, we thought we could curtail this into many different things, but we're not paying the legal department. We're looking at Josephine next year, we're cutting her pay, but no one wants to talk about that. Almost every department head sitting up there has sent an email saying, wait a minute, this budget's not correct. What's going on? And we've gone back and adjusted. We had our first reading today on it, and I said in the work session, I don't think we should have a first reading on a budget that's not correct. Because there was amendments that needed to be made, which Sylvia alluded to many times in the meeting, but yet we went forward with it and put it at first reading. We're in a big rush to push this thing through. Why? I'm kind of at a point now with everything that's going on that I want every possible investigation there could be out there. And if you guys enjoy this, and I'm sure you all read my email I sent to all of you, this is why I'm a little upset. Because none of you had anything to say when he attacked me because of the way I voted up here. But now I want to bring it to light for the community to know I'm being attacked because I said, yeah, I support the termination. That's where I stand.
Nick, I will answer your emails if you want to respect us and not call us the Three Amigos. I'll say anything, but not when I get an email calling me a Three Amigo.
It was said in jest.
No, it was not. So just so you know, when you decide to be decent and send a nice email talking decent to us, I'll respond to you, but I'm not going to respond to you when you're going to refer to me as an amigo.
All right,
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn, second.
Yeah,
We
that was
didn't
quick.
get into new business. You need to ask that question. New business.
Adjournment takes precedence over everything. Thank you all for coming this evening.
Vince?
Good. Everybody's on no, they're moving to, and 82 is on my side.
Everybody's asking us, we don't know where they're moving.
What's that? Those guys, yeah. Yeah, he told me, oh, it's past the lights. I need to.
Oh my God, we were supposed to make a motion.
How are you? Yes, Kayla is giving you my copy. I emailed her, she emailed me, and I said, go ahead and give my copy. So tomorrow, anytime, come on. Well, I mean, it's a full-size sheet, and I don't have a scanner, but you can take my copy. Because I looked at it already, I did my review.
Here at the meeting, when they explained it. I don't think it was that though. I mean, it doesn't really cost correctly. It's
How many
not-
pumps?
Whatever. I thought I
I can
was
find
watching
out.
from the 27th.
He's on
I mean, I have to go back and look.
You're not talking about what's
You're talking about what's on cable.
we give it, service department gives it over to, I don't